I've come to a conclusion recently. No matter how much I think a game could be bad, no matter how many times I'll tell myself I won't like it, there will always be surprises in the world of gaming. One such surprise was Titanfall 2. If you know me, you'd know I'm not really into first-person shooters. The only other one I got into was Destiny, and while that game is one of my favorite games ever, I fully admit it has many flaws and it isn't for everyone. Even after getting into Destiny, I still thought that most other first-person shooter games were boring, but my friend Melodicat kept telling me to try Titanfall 2. I saw a bit of the first game and I wasn't very impressed. And I also was turned off by the fact that the game didn't even have a single-player campaign, so I never bothered. I tried the multiplayer tech test with him and had fun, but I still wasn't very impressed. It wasn't until a couple of months after the game came out that I finally got it for myself. I kept saying I'd only play it with my friend because I knew I'd get bored with the game without him. But after a game session with Melodicat, he went offline, but I still kinda wanted to play, so I tried out the single-player. I'll talk about the multiplayer a bit later, but single-player is what hooked me, so I'll talk about that first. You start at the game as Rifleman Jack Cooper, who at the beginning is receiving training to become a pilot. During his training, right before he gets to call in his Titan, they have to stop to go fight for some reason. Sorry if that's a stupid thing to say, but really other than the things that happen directly to the main characters, I have no idea what the story is. I jumped into the series at 2, so I have no real context for why this battle is happening. I look at the wiki and it says something about an attack on a planet held by the IMC, but I don't really know who that is, nor do I care. Anyway, the cool thing is that you actually do start out as a rifleman. You can't double jump, run on walls, or anything. You just have your gun and grenades and have to survive an onslaught of enemy specters. After taking care of them, you move on and get ambushed by an enemy Titan. Luckily, Captain Lastimosa saves you and injects you with something that will heal you but also knock you out, and then hides you. While you're laying there defenseless, Lastimosa gets back inside his Titan and tries to fend off enemy Titans, but ends up defeated. After you wake the next day, these alien creatures are about to eat you, but Lastimosa's Titan was able to shoot and kill them. You walk over to it and find out that Lastimosa is still alive, but barely. You try and help him, but he opens his helmet and tells his Titan, BT-7274, to transfer authorization to you, and tells you to take his helmet and jump kit, and dies.
Cooper, take my Titan. Use my helmet and my jump kit. This is the real thing. Take care of him.
After getting a few Titan batteries to heal BT, you and him set off to complete Lastimosa's mission for him. Now I'm not going to spoil the whole story for you if you haven't played it yet, but the story really isn't anything special. The antagonists are as shallow and unimportant as the Cobra unit from Metal Gear Solid 3, and throughout the campaign nothing is really explained. While I do think the story is bad, I don't think it ruins the experience. I think of it more like an action movie, where the real story is kind of taking a back seat so it can show off all the action. And that's fine to me, because even with the story taking a back seat, the character interactions between Cooper and BT are amazing and they pick up all the slack.
To all militia personnel, the IMC will grant safe passage back to the Angel City Penitentiary. To all who surrender, it would be wise to turn yourselves in to any IMC search team immediately.
Pilot, I advise against turning yourself over to the IMC. Voice pattern analysis indicates they are lying.
You don't think I'm that stupid, BT?
Undetermined. I will not know the full extent of your brain function until we establish a neural link.
Most of the conversations between BT and Cooper are done during the gameplay, and you sometimes get to choose what Cooper responds with.
Pilot, this Titan weapon is an advanced design and may give us a tactical advantage.
I think somebody's in love.
A human's concept of love requires admiration, attraction, devotion, and respect. Conclusion. I am 50% in love.
While these conversations with BT and Cooper are great, none of them really affect anything. It's just a fun little addition to help show off their personalities. But really the main reason this campaign is so good is because of the level design and gameplay. Every single stage is fun and unique in their own way, and while there are some stages that are clearly better than others, none of them get boring. Even on repeated playthroughs, there is never a time where I got bored. It's fast-paced action from start to finish, and you'd be hard-pressed to find a shooter with stage gimmicks more fun than this. I've played this game on normal twice, and then went on to Master difficulty, which has you dying pretty much just as fast as the weakest enemies in the game. Even though on Master I'd die all the time, I still had fun, and when I ended up beating it, it was one of the most satisfying things I've ever done as a gamer. I just wish I could have gotten some kind of reward, like a camo or skin in multiplayer for beating it. Speaking of multiplayer, it's finally time to talk about it. While the single player is great, it's very short and you're going to be spending most of your time in multiplayer. Now, let me just say this. Even in Destiny, I hated multiplayer. I hated competitive modes in shooters because I'm so bad at them, and I almost always get shit on by veterans of the genre. But Titanfall 2's multiplayer is one of the most fun experiences I've had in gaming, and even now I can't stop playing. I play online pretty much every day, and even during matches where I'm doing poorly, I still feel great because Titanfall 2 does such a great job at making you feel like a badass action hero even if your stats prove the opposite. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that in some game modes, they add enemy NPCs to the mix that you gain points by killing, so even if you can't outgun your fellow pilots, you can still help your team by killing as many NPCs as possible. There are other game modes that have only players, but if I'm being honest, with the exception of Last Titan Standing, I don't really like them. My main game modes are Attrition, Bounty Hunt, and Last Titan Standing. But anyway, as a player, there are two gameplay styles with many variations for both, the Pilot and the Titan. I'll start with the Pilot. As a pilot, you're a human or robot equipped with a jump kit and various tactical abilities. This jump kit allows you to do a double jump, run on walls, run faster, and slide further. And the tactical ability gives you a skill that changes how you play. There's the grappling hook, stim, pulse blade, AWOL, phase shift, holopilot, and cloak. They're all cool in their own right, except the AWOL. Grappling hook is exactly how it sounds, but unlike most grappling hooks in games, it doesn't lock you to where you shoot it, but rather you can actually swing and influence the direction while it's pulling you. Stim is an ability that nearly doubles your speed on the ground, speeds up health regen, and when chaining wall runs, the speed you can obtain is intense. Pulse blade is a blade that you throw and stick to surfaces. It allows you to see enemies through walls. AWOL is portable cover that allows you to camp like an asshole. And not only that, it powers up your shots. If you don't care if people hate you, it pairs up nicely with the devotion. Phase shift is an ability that when used will teleport you to an alternate dimension called the Upside Down for 2 seconds, where you can't be hurt at all. It has 2 charges, and it's extremely good at getting out of dangerous situations. Holopilot is easily the least used one in the game, not because it's bad, but because it's hard to use effectively. It basically makes a hologram of your pilot that mimics your actions when activated. And lastly, Cloak. It's an ability that makes you nearly invisible to pilots and completely vanish from Titans. My personal favorites are the grappling hook, stim, and phase shift. Now, onto the Titans. The Titans are huge mechs that you can either have fight alongside you, or get inside and have it basically be an extension of yourself. There are 6 Titans currently in the game: Northstar, Ronin, Scorch, Ion, Legion, and Tone. Northstar is a sniper class, able to hit things from long distances and do huge bursts of damage. She can also fly for a short period of time. She has low health though, so it's best to stay away from most fights and attack from a distance. Ronin is a hit-and-run Titan. He's equipped with a shotgun and a sword, but very low health. He's able to block incoming projectiles with sword block to lower damage received, and is also able to phase shift out of danger. Scorch is a heavy and slow Titan. He's equipped with a thermite launcher that isn't very good on its own, but it's amazing when paired up with his gas canister traps that when ignited do huge damage to any Titan unfortunate enough to be standing in them. Ion is the balanced Titan. She has a gun that shoots single shots, or you can spread it for increased damage. She also has a vortex shield to reflect projectiles, and a laser beam to do big bursts of damage. Legion is the slowest Titan, but the trade-off for that is that he does huge damage with his rotating machine gun. He gets a gun shield, as well as a special shot that changes attributes depending on if you're in long or short range mode. Tone is probably the most controversial Titan. She has a 40mm cannon that has excellent range, and with each hit, she gains a lock onto a Titan. Once you hit them 3 times, you can shoot homing rockets that you can curve around objects. She also has a shield, and a sonar that gives you 1 lock to any Titans near it. And your whole team can see any of the Titans hit by it for a short time. I don't really get why people say this Titan's so overpowered. Her only problem is her salvo core ability that shoots a ton of rockets that go where you look. That's a bit too strong. My personal favorite Titans are Northstar, Scorch, and Tone. Both Titans and pilots are fun, but in their own ways. Titan combat is slower, but more intense, whereas pilot combat is fast, frantic, and everyone dies quickly. The gameplay is incredible no matter which one you're in control of. Each map is designed with both Titans and pilots in mind. There are plenty of wide open areas for the Titans, and plenty of indoor areas and rooftops for the pilots. I also find it amazing how well they've managed to balance the interactions between pilots and Titans. When you're a Titan, you feel unstoppable. and you can kill pilots by meleeing them or even just stepping on them. But when you're a pilot, you can go up against these giant mechs, and if you're skilled enough, you can take them down single-handedly. You have a selection of anti-Titan weapons, and you can even jump on a Titan and steal its battery. And if you do it again, you throw a grenade inside for massive damage. There really isn't a point where you feel underpowered in Titanfall 2, whether you're a pilot or a Titan. Unless you're up against like a full team that's in a party together and they're highly competitive, but that doesn't happen too often unless you play competitive modes like Last Titan Standing or Pilots vs. Pilots. After each match in the game, you earn credits and experience. With the experience, you unlock more stuff for your pilot to use, like new Titans, guns, and camos. With the credits, you can buy unlocks early. Once you reach level 50, you're asked if you want to regenerate and become a next-generation pilot. When you do this, all of your unlocks for your pilot are reset as if you were level 1, but you keep everything you bought with credits. When you regenerate, you get access to new cosmetic items, and as you level up, you gain everything you lost back. As I'm writing this, I'm currently G6. The only real complaint I have with this game is there's no visual customization other than camos. I would have loved new armor pieces for my pilot or something as I leveled up to make myself look unique. Kind of like how Halo's multiplayer is handled. But really that's only a minor complaint, I just hope they add it in Titanfall 3. This game has me hooked and I can't stop playing. I'm always excited for the next match, and I never got bored like how I expected I would. Respawn is actually doing their DLC like Splatoon, where everything is added in free updates. Right now I'm really excited for the new update that adds a whole new mode and maps, as well as a new execution that you can use when you melee a pilot from behind. Free DLC just gives me even more of a reason to keep playing. I love Titanfall 2 not only because of the incredible and unique single player, but the action-packed multiplayer too. This game is the whole package, and if anything you have seen in this video is at all interesting to you, I highly recommend you buy it. If I, someone who normally dislikes shooters, can get this invested into the game, then I know you'll like it too if you give it a shot. Go into the game with an open mind, and you'll quickly see that this is one of the best AAA shooters out there. Hey everyone, sorry for the huge shift in video content, and I'm sorry again for being inactive. I keep promising myself that I'll make new videos every week, but I keep letting myself and you guys down. But as you can see, this marks a new shift in my channel. Before, I wanted to make my channel strictly Nintendo and Sonic related, but now I'd like my channel to be more about my discoveries and experiences as a gamer. As someone who likes to play on any console and PC, I play a lot of games, and I feel making videos on whatever I want will allow me to have more genuine videos, and they'll be more fun to make. I'm sorry if you subscribed for only Sonic stuff, but I don't really feel right in limiting myself to one series anymore. Don't worry though, there will still be more Sonic stuff, and my previous series, When Fans Step Up, isn't going anywhere. I completely understand if you feel like unsubscribing, and if you gave this video a chance and watched it all the way through, I really appreciate it. I can't promise that my next video will be this month, but I'll try my best. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.